Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Shafiq Rizwan. Okay, today I would like to explain about our project, which is the conference management system. Okay, the first one is the RE work. So this is the RE process framework figure. Okay, this one we use as a guide to do the RE activities. Okay, okay. For the first one, we use to identify the facets of our project. Okay, for example, subject set. So what this system is about, users set, how the system will be used, IT set, technology or platform that will be used in our system, and also the purpose is to ensure comprehensive coverage of requirement from different perspective, from the subject, from the user, something like that. Okay, and then we also use the tool Helix ALM for requirement management. It can help to track requirement changes and documents to ensure easy access and version control. Okay. So the third one is called RE activities. The first one is elicitation. So from elicitation, we conducted interview with stakeholders to gather insight on problem and expectation, and we can also define key function of the confidence management system based on the elicitation that we use. Okay, and then for documentation, we use a lot of diagrams. For example, use case diagram, context diagram, activity diagram, and we also prepare software requirement specification reports, and we store and manage requirement in Hills AR. Okay, and then for we also do the negotiation, which we held review session with stakeholders to refine requirement based on feedback from the stakeholders, and then we ensure requirement were realistic and agreed upon. So in case there were some changes that need to be done, then from this we will do the changes. And then the validation, we presented requirement to stakeholders for confirmation, and then we check for conflicts and missing requirements, and we updated change in the Hills LM. And then this is the workflow. Okay, the first one we will do elicitation to gather stakeholder information, and then we will analyze to define and create requirement based on the information, and then we use the Helix LM to manage the requirement, and then after that we will do review with the stakeholders, and then the stakeholder will validate the requirements. Okay, so everything is done about the RE framework. So now we will continue to the requirement management tools. Okay, so we use Helix ALM for our project, for our requirement management tools. Okay, so I want to show the demo in the actual website, but the trial already over, so I can access the tools. Okay, so I will show from the picture. Okay, the first one is we can store the requirements. Okay, as you can see here, we have a lot of option, which is we can add existing requirement, or we can add requirement as a child or a requirement as sibling. Okay, based on this, and add existing requirements. Okay, you can just add here, and it will prompt you for the details. Okay, you can choose what kind of requirement. For example, we have functional requirement, business requirement, non-functional requirement. We also have constraint over there in the last part. Okay. After we have done everything, we have done to input the requirements. Then all type requirement will be shown here in the dashboard. There is a page there about requirements only. Then this is the page. You can see all the requirements. Okay. So if you want to manage changes, for example, you want to change after we have done the review with the stakeholders, and they want us to improve or to fix the conflicts, then we can just in the requirements you can click to the option where you can edit details, you can also view, so you can just edit, and then it will show you. Okay, there you can see there is a the system shall notify review when people are listening to them. You can just change from here, and then you click save, and then you will save to the review the requirements. Okay, and then for collaborations, okay, this is setting admin home, so you can just people you can see the people there. Okay, there you can click on the users. Okay, and then you can just put the information of the collaborators that you want to invite to do the project. Okay, you can also we can also uh, you can see the security groups there, so you can choose what type of role that he have. You can choose admin, you can choose developer. There are a lot of type of security groups. Okay, and then after that you can also give the username and password to the collaborators, and then just give it to them, and then they can input the username and password to log into the requirement management tools. Okay, and also we have requirement documentations. Okay, so you can add reports the the RM tools. Okay, there are a lot of templates from here. You can see customer detail, folder detail. You can also search for uh, requirement specification template, and you can just click next, and then it will show you the requirements report, and then you can just see it. You can just access it. Okay, and then you can also use XML export to export the files from the requirement management tools. Okay, and then for traceability, okay, for traceability, you can just click on the requirement, and then there are option of traceability. You just click there, and then you can see you can add link for this requirement to any test cases. So if you done any test cases, then it will trace back to the requirements. So this is the traceability report. Okay, so this is the requirements. Okay, and then requirement documentation and linked requirement test cases and also test run. You can see from here. If there are any error, then it will trace back to the requirements back. Okay. And then validation. Okay, the requirement can be reviewed by the reviewer. Okay, so after they are done review, they can set a review block or on hold. So they can see the status here on the dashboard. Okay, and that's all me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum. I'll pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Farhaneka bin Syamuddin. My noted number is 2219173. Okay, so today I will be presenting about the requirement statement for our conference management system. So the system is designed to support academic and professional conference management in an efficient and user-friendly way. Okay, so next. So this is our functional requirement. So we have 10 main modules that made up in our conference management system. So the first one is authentication and user management, and then paper submission, review management, scheduling, registration and payment, proceeding, publishing, notification, mobile apps, admin and monitoring, and last one is plagiarism and security. So next, review management module. So this is example for one of our functional requirement. So okay, so let's take a closer look. So the first requirement is CMS Ref 001. So the system shall let organizer assign papers to reviewer based on expertise. So this allow organizer to assign paper to reviewer based on their area of expertise. And then next, the system shall allow reviewers to view assigned paper. And then next, the system shall allow reviewers to submit feedback on assigned paper. So this one, it enable reviewer to provide feedback for papers. And then the last one is CMS Ref 004. So the system shall allow reviewers to submit confidential comments for organizing. So this one gives reviewers the option to send confidential comments to the organizer. Okay, so next is quality requirement. So we have three types of quality requirement. So the first one is performance, and then safety and security. So this help the system not just functional, but it reliable and secure under real world condition. Okay, so this is the example for quality requirement in safety. So the first one is CMS TR004. So the system shall perform regular automated backup every 6 hours to prevent data loss in case of system failure. And then next, in case of unexpected shutdown, users shall be informed with an error message and their input shall be autosaved for recovery. And then the last one is critical operation. Example like paper deletion or role reassignment. So shall require double confirmation to prevent accidental change. So this help us protect both the data and the user experience. Okay, next is okay. So this is constraint requirement. So constraint requirement define the boundaries and technology that we use. So this is the example for the constraint requirement in our conference management system. So the first one is the system must integrate with Turnitin API for plagiarism checking, which impose submission rate limit. So the next one is CMS Con002. So the front end of the CMS shall be developed using React.js, while the back end must use Django, Python. And then the last one is CMS Con003. So the CMS database shall use PostgreSQL and be used on a cloud platform compatible with the university IT policy. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. We'll be discussing requirements validation for conference management system, Group A. So we had a stakeholder review meeting where we presented the draft requirements to the stakeholders. We were receiving the feedback through an online meeting. We made a few wording changes in order to be more concise and clear, and we had no missing or major conflicting requirements were found. And we've also had prototype testing. As you can see, we have the prototype, we shared it for the review. Users tested the simple flow, submission, review, dashboard, admin page, and so on. It was overall a positive feedback. So for the requirement checklist review, we had a final check of all requirements using a simple checklist. We ensured that each requirement is testable, there's no conflicts or duplicate entries, clarity in wording, and we helped fix voice points like fast to make it more precise, 2 seconds under 200 users. So for the summary, we held a short session with lecturers and students to go through the draft requirements. We've had a stakeholder meeting, prototype feedback, and then we have reviewed the checklist after doing these validation techniques. Um, so we tested the prototype, the low fidelity prototype, to help users visualize the flow, and most feedback was positive. The clean interface, it was a very simple interface, gets the job done. One useful comment led to adding a private comment field for reviewers in case someone wanted to have a more private uh, opinion or feedback. And we confirmed that the navigation dashboard's layouts were user friendly, they were easy to navigate. Thank you.